and welcome to my channel where we cover all things Neon Digital related. Sorry about the mishap earlier. I kind of had a script ready and that was a no-go. I haven't streamed in a couple of years and I don't know, I was kind of about it, but I thank you for y'all understanding. But this is your infamous Insidious. I've been playing the game for about 3 months and I'm here to share with y'all the game. The Industry is a free-to-play NFT game on the Polygon Block Chain. It's a player versus player card game where the premise is to create a team with a general build and play style that will ambush and defend against other players played throughout a match of cards assigned to individual units. Over the course of the show, I'll be showing you how to build teams, characters, different deck styles, strengths, and weaknesses of individual characters, weapons, and logos, of course. This video is an introduction on how to get started within the district. First off, you're going to sit there and need to download MetaMask, free extension, wallet, and then you're going to proceed to sit there and make an actual Neon District account, your general, your standard email, password, login. After that, you're going to be given one free character. With the current meta, the state of the game, I'd recommend you utilizing it and buying a Ghost, Jack, or Doctor. Like I said, just because of the way the game is currently playing out. And then besides that, you're going to start off with 300 Neon. I would also use that to sit there and purchase 3 additional units to round off. Primarily, either fill up your 4 slots in a team, or you could sit there and take the 1 free character and use that for your personal team for delivery, and then you have the next 3 for ambushes. Of course, unfortunately, it costs Neon to sit there and ambush individuals, as shown here. At first, attacking a team is going to cost 5 Neon. If somebody has already attempted the ambush and has failed, it's going to go up in increments of 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. Currently, has attempted an ambush, and you get 100 ambushes a day. Currently, I'm on cooldown. I won't get mine till set hours. My best advice is to sit there and do it when the server's inactive. It seems like right now would actually be a good time to sit there and do it. If you're just starting, I would focus primarily teams that are bare, newer teams. Display here. You'll also start up with 5 juices, and they work like experience in other games. Currently, the level cap is 5, and they're supposed to be coming up with an update here shortly, soon, I guess within the next couple of weeks, a month, increasing the level. But at the moment, you also have gears or parts, which is used to increase level up weapons, armor, etc. You don't start off with any of those. You're going to have to find those with me. But after you fly or you use your free character, it's going to sit there and make you form out a team. And like I said, you can either sit there and fill up all 4 slots if you bought all 4 characters, or you could sit there and assign a utilize for your delivery, and you assign the other 3 to sit there and start ambushes. Unfortunately, like I said, it requires me to sit there and start that up. So you could sit there and you're gonna sit there and wait throughout, your first delivery. Deliveries work by assigning a team to sit there and go on these deliveries. About an 8-hour shift. Each delivery can sit there and last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And there's tiers. There's tier 1, which is your passive delivery, and you're only going to acquire a third of what you would if you run the tier 2. Tier 2, unfortunately, I can't say people that are currently on delivery, but a tier 2 is going to allow you to make 3 times the amount that you would sit there and you would make on tier 1. But unfortunately, while you're doing that, especially since if you're a newer player, you're able to be ambushed by other teams. PvP aspect of the game. And over here in the left-hand corner, we're watching a match play out currently, and this is everything's automated at the moment. But in the future, they're hoping to introduce an actual PvP where we'll actually play out the cards. What I just did there was that this gentleman attacked my delivery team, and I attacked back. He stole 17 neon. I was worth 35. Still half, so I assume I was around the 35 margin. So he made off with 17, and for 306. When you afterwards, you're gonna have to on your deliveries. You won't be able to do that if primarily if you're a newer player, but you would have to post the contract and hope somebody else would sit there and in turn do that, and you would make half the assets. So if somebody else, if I were to post this, if I wasn't able to defeat this team, somebody else would have to come in and post the contract on the informant board, and in doing so, you would only receive half of it. But losing is okay, essentially, if you're quick enough to sit there and catch the person after they stole or while they're doing their 100 ambushes. Right now I'm just filling some contracts. Show you. This right here is the time. So this guy, he hits this team about 15 minutes ago, and they just posted the contract hoping that somebody will steal back the neon that he made off. He got it. I'm pretty sure he got away, but he did not. You sit there and you start to acquire more neon, you're going to be able to buy either more characters, items. You can actually start buying gears or equipment. Each crate is 4 items for 500 neon. Like I said, it's going to take some time, especially if you sit there and spend your initial 300 on characters, which I highly recommend. Utilizing the juice to level them up. Like I said, you'll start off with 5. When you level up somebody from 1 to 2, it requires 2 juice. 3 to 4, or 2 to 3, it's going to be 3, 4, 5. It just increases by 1, so it'll be 1 more than what your current level is. 1 to 2 requires 2, 3, 4, except you'll start up with 5, so you can either diversify your 5 initial juice amongst your initial assets, units, or you can sit there and primarily dump that all into your lead. But really the choice is yours. It's not really going to make a difference, seeing how you're not going to be able to max out anyone anyway. You just utilize what you can. In conjunction to cards, I highly recommend learning the cards. This is a RPG, so it's like you build your team, but in doing so, it plays out with another card. Each character, each unit comes with 10 initial cards. This website will walk you through what those 10 initial cards are, or you could just simply look them over. Unfortunately, I don't have any level 1 characters. The base characters to sit there and show you the 10 initial cards. This website is a good example. Drop it in the Discord. You can follow the Neon District Discord on the homepage. There's going to be a little button for you to sit there and access that. I'll be sure to drop that in there from time to time, because unfortunately it's going to get bumped off the thread. And I'll also probably post that in the comments. But the 4, all the rank 0 cards are going to be what the unit primarily starts off with. Like I said, I did recommend buying a Ghost, Jack, or Doctor, so we'll go through some of their cards. So it's going to... So the initial cards of the Doctor is going to be Nano Stream, Undo, Breed, Sepsis, Nanobot, and Sepsis. They're going to start off with 3 Nanobot Streams, 3 Undus, 2 Breeds, and 2 Sepsis, making up the 10 primary cards. When you're rolling a Doctor, my best advice is the cards you want to sit there and roll off are going to sit there and be Sepsis and Undo. Nanobot Stream is of course going to heal, and effect cards play at the end of your turn. So you'll see the tick cost is 0. Ticks work as like your turn. Primarily when a match begins, it's basically like a coin toss to determine who goes first, but in conjunction afterwards you rely on the tick cost, which is going to be shown at the top of this time frame. And it plays out in conjunction. The higher the tick cost, the longer you have to wait to take back your turn. But I recommend that because, of course, you want to sit there and utilize your Doctor for killing. And currently, with level 5 being the level cap, cleanse isn't necessarily too strong, especially seeing how it's just one cleanse. If it was a little stronger, I'd probably recommend keeping that over the hill, seeing how it's just 150, and your assets can get kind of beefy. We'll look over at my team to show you. So like my health pool is 2,300 on my lead, 3,000 on my healer, 24, 23. So 150 really isn't going to do much, especially if you're watching this match play off in the left-hand corner. You'll see that people are dishing out a lot more damage, and that primary heal is only going to focus your lead. So seeing how my healer is in my second place, it's only going to focus my lead in conjunction to healing. That 150, which is pretty low. You can also take the time right now to actually sit there and roll some units to sit there and show you guys how that works out. So this is really going to be the first page you start off in when you start the game, and you get your 1 free unit. It's not going to sit there and say it buys. It's a free unit for you. Actually, I guess go ahead with the Doctor since that's our primary example. In leveling, it's going to take 14 juice to max out a character. Alright, see what we can do. Alright, it's actually a really good card. What is it? Revitalize? It doesn't unfortunately tell you the names of the card, but this, as you can see, it's a full heal on your lead. And then here with the primary 10 cards, and then when you finally do manage to get a weapon, that's going to be your additional 10 cards, and then building that is similar, but each weapon class has its own 10 cards. And like I said, I would highly recommend you utilize this weapon to sit there and learn what those are going to be. For example, if you're going to go, say, this gentleman's using a rifle, so we'll go to rifle. This is going to be the initial 10 cards. And again, it's going to be 3, 3, 2, 2. Oh, yeah, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2. No, 2, 2. Alright, but back to rolling. We'll lose Sepsis. Sepsis makes you lose 100 life to gain an additional 80 attack, and you attack a single target. But really, primarily, you want to sit there and have your Doctor focus on healing. There are different builds or playstyles you can utilize the Doctor for it to be more offensive or aggro in terms of its playstyle. But really, like in the current state, I would focus, especially if you're going to be building towards meta, I would focus on building a healing Doctor. So to continue, you can just go through the prompts verifying that is the card you want to roll off, because you only have 10 cards per character, so as you're leveling them, you're going to have to get rid of the other ones. It's the only card I pulled. I don't necessarily focus on stats. I mean, you could, but I have cards I need to get rid of. You know, I have to get rid of those standard cards because essentially could cost me a turn. Relatively even stats, especially when they're in my opinion, so low. 150 health, 100. That's not even going to protect you from a full hit. And really, it's your choice. Like I said, I want to get rid of these cleanse and this sepsis. I'm kind of saving the sepsis to sit there and see if I can't roll another one of the revitalize. So we'll go ahead here. And that's a 30% heal on your lead. So here. This is an effect. Like I said, effects play at the end of your turn. So this is a focus. Focus is where it increases your odds of drawing that specific type of card towards your next turn. Your next doctor's turn, it's going to sit there and help you focus. What I want to sit there and say it's like 20% per stack. And everything in game stacks to 5. See, like right here, it's like cleanse 3, so it'll help you cleanse 3 stacks of poison. I want to sit there and say is the only thing cleanse can counters. Cleanse helps you counter poison. But yeah, cleanse is probably gonna be the card I decided to go with. But see, some cards like the heal will have specific typings, I would suppose you would call it, and this one, it's like it will increase the odds that I draw sepsis. Out of all my 20 cards, 10 if I don't have a weapon. It's just going to give me a 20% chance to sit there and draw sepsis at the beginning of my turn. And if I had played a sacrifice card, I gain an additional stack of focus sacrifice, so making it like 40% draw chance. But we're going to go with cleanse 3. Insert additional cards into decks. If it's a hostile, it's going to insert them into your enemy deck, and generally that's going to be a negative effect. This one's going to insert into my allies deck. I'm not particularly fond of those because they can lock you from even though it's an effect, it's going to proc at the end of your turn. I just don't necessarily recommend those because of the fact that they could prevent you from essentially drawing something you need to play. So probably gonna have to go with this effect, and it just makes it to where if I play a healing card at minus 10 ticks, it reduces the tick cost of a healing card. And currently the build on this guy, I'm looking at 5 heals. So I mean, there's a pretty good chance that I'm gonna sit there and draw that, and it's gonna, for example, this tick cost is 50, it'll make it a 40, 35, 35, 35, 35. That's probably the best route. Seeing, like I said, I'm not particularly fond, especially something so minuscule as 13 tactics. I'll get into exploits here in a little bit. I actually haven't drawn an exploit card currently, but this is probably going to be the best route in conjunction to building this particular unit. And all units are going to vary. That's the premise of the game. is that generally no 2 units, especially when the level increases, are necessarily going to be the same. So that's it. He's a level 5 unit now. We got Scour, and then Cleanse 3 instead of the Cleanse 1. We have Reconstruction, which is going to heal my lead 30%, and Revitalize, which is a full heal, and it procs Nano Break too. That's going to break, mitigates your stats by, I want to sit there and say 5%, up to 25. said, I still rely on this index to sit there and refresh myself as long as I've been playing. It's actually 20%. And let's get into the exploits. So tactics, nano, mech, stealth, and hacking are your stats that you're going to utilize for exploit roles. Like I said, I don't have any on this doctor, for example, so it'd probably be best on my actual teams. Just a taste, easy exploit, inflict poison, 1 stack of poison. It's going to utilize stealth. So my stealth is going to be 194, and against the... He's gone. Against your opposing, your enemy, it's going to sit there and rely on their highest exploit to dictate whether or not this effect goes off. This is the primary effect of the card. I'm going to get a 0 additional attack, attack target enemy, and I'm going to guarantee 1 stack of poison. But if I win the exploit roll, I will get an additional stack. There we go. And the difficulty of the exploit is going to determine this set effect. It's going to, if it's an easy exploit, it's going to minus 25 to their stat. So we'll start this up real quick. Let's say I was to use just a taste on this individual. His highest is hacking, so 205 to my 194 on my lead. So if I was to proc just a taste on him, seeing how it's an easy exploit, it's going to minus 25 from his highest value. If you're going to attempt a medium exploit, it's going to give him 25, so making it essentially harder for me to win that. And it's a die roll. No exploits, even if mine was to be higher than his, like dramatically, is 100%, and it'll explain that in this. See right here, the lowest chance is 1%. So there's a 99% chance at the max that you'll pull off an exploit, and unfortunately it gets harder as you go through the tiers. See, easy is going to minus 25, medium is plus 25, hard is plus 75, and epic. I haven't seen any epic exploits currently, but that's going to be really hard to pull off. You're going to in terms of building, if you wanted to sit there and focus epic exploit, you would have to sit there and build towards that, and in your armor, you're going to have to sit there and focus the values of exploits over things like health, attack, and defense. There's actual exploit-oriented armor sets, whereas the armor sets I'm utilizing right now are really all stats. With the exception of my doctor. My doctor is utilizing more of a health armor set relatively than all my other assets. You can see they're pretty well rounded in terms of their stats. It's probably one of the safest ways to sit there and play out relatively than focusing on exploits, especially with my current build or what I have going. And we can actually go through my teams. See right there, I just collected the remaining 18. See there, it finally shows. Out of the 35 that I was to make this run, if I didn't fail to this individual. But it's okay because I made back a lot more than what he had sit there and stolen. We could also go through some contracts. So the breakdown of my team really is, like I said, I'm playing meta. That kind of tripped me out. I didn't think I had the right asset here, but primarily is a catalytic lead, right? A lot of people are utilizing Ghost on their team, and Ghost prioritize inflicting poison, and this is the best counter in conjunction to that, unless you wanted to sit there and have like a cleanse focus doctor, where you're sitting there cleansing your team of stacks of poison. The easiest way to remove poison is going to be a catalytic Ghost, and it's a rank 9 card, so it's actually kind of hard to pull off. This one, as you see, I have two, and this is my initial 10 cards: Torment, the hard stuff, Catalytic Glow. Got my 3 base, Just a Taste, my double blur, Catalytic Glow, and Distract. Just Distract being a base as well. So I have that as my lead because something like Just a Taste, a lot of ghosts are going to sit there and keep as they roll through their 5 levels, and that's going to inflict poison on your lead. It's always going to focus your lead assets, so they're going to be proccing 1 to 2 stacks of poison as they're going through their turns. And Catalytic Glow is the easiest way to cleanse that and turn it into additional bonus damage. It's going to plus 200 attack, so it's going to add 200 attack to my attack stat, making it actually a pretty, even without poison stacks, it's going to hit kind of hard. And then for every stack of poison I remove for myself and the enemy as well, so me applying poison to the enemy is going to apply additional bonus damage, piercing at that. So with every stack of poison I remove for myself and the enemy guarantees 150 to my enemy. That's why it's, I guess, meta at the moment, just because, like I said, poison is very common in everybody's deck, and just the fact that it's piercing and it guarantees cleanse on you, unfortunately your enemy as well. That's my 1 out of 2. I only have 2 double Catalytic Glow ghosts, and the other one's gonna sit there and be my lead on my delivery team. But this is my main ambush team. This is the one a lot of people seem to have a problem with. A lot of people, in terms of weapons, like to utilize energy or rifles, and that's because energy and rifles come with AoE attack, area of effect cards. One on the energy being Plasma Storm. And this at base, and it's a rank 9 card, so it's actually kind of hard to pull, and you kind of want to pull multiple versions on when you're rolling your energy weapons. But this right here is going to deal 300 across the board, and then it's a hard exploit, so like I was saying before, I think that's like plus 125. So it's kind of hard to pull off, but if you do pull off the exploit, it deals an additional 200. So you're looking at 500 damage across the board. Pretty common. Like this gentleman right here, his back unit is probably utilizing that build. You got a pistol and then 2 drones. And then for rifles, Hell Unleashed. It's a plus 150 attack, so this one isn't piercing, whereas the other one is, so that 300 damage is guaranteed. This one is going to fluctuate in the amount of damage, so really you would want to build an attack focused unit to sit there and pull this playstyle off, but in conjunction to that, if you win the exploit, that unit gains 50 attack for the remainder of the battle. So this could essentially snowball you to a win if you can sit there and essentially keep that unit up. And this is, like I said, it's AoE, so it's going to attack all enemies on the field. And that was what the first match was utilizing. His back unit, his way back unit was utilizing a rifle for, I'm pretty sure, which should have been Hell's Unleashed. My counter to that is I run all drones. I run all drones because drones come with a lot of shield cards on them, and shield's going to nullify damage, including piercing. Shield is the only counter to piercing, because piercing is going to bypass your defense stat. Like I said, it's guaranteed damage if you're able to pull it off. And as you just sit there and watch the battle play out, you'll see my units are going to constantly try to shield my lead unit and keep him up for him to sit there and sustain poison, and then nuke with, return a nuke with catalytic blow. My best advice, I mean, there's also another reason, I guess I should sit there and clarify. Effects. I prioritize effects because they play at the end of your turn, and this, for example, I don't know, this is a bug. It's showing me, I guess, what primarily my lead unit drew this first turn. An effect's going to allow you to play a card in addition to activating the effect. So you'll see sometimes like my unit will go 3 times in one turn. Really, you're only going to play one card, but I mean, if I have only one card and 2 effect cards, I'm going to end up playing all 3. Field repairs. I run a lot of field repairs on my drones. It's an effect card, and that's going to grant 2 regen to all my allies. And it stacks pretty good, and that negates the me having to rely on using a jack on my team to pull off a lot of my attacks, or my ambushes in regards to other people's teams, just because I have so many field repairs rolled on my drones. I have 5 to the team. Yeah, I'll do that too. You can do that. You're good, love. I stack a lot of field, I got fortunate enough to stack a lot of field repairs on my team, but primarily what I was the primary card I was looking for on my drones is Fire Command. Fire Command is a rank 9 card that rolls exclusively to drones, and that's going to deal 150 damage to the board at the end of your turn. I got pretty lucky and got this one off of OpenSea. Somebody was selling it for floor price, and they didn't know what they had. This one in particular came with 2 fire commands rolled to it, so I just took with it and ran. And I also got pretty lucky, and I rolled double auto shield on this. So auto shield is another effect card that's going to gain a shield on this particular unit every turn I draw it. This is my double Knight's Breath as well, which is another effect card that inflicts poison, 2 stacks of poison amongst the entire board. This is actually a really good unit, especially with the current meta. Like I said, especially with the catalytic lead, and I'm fortunate enough to get a double relapse catalytic blow as my my ass end of the team, and it's mostly what I play for. Atomic Cement is the shield that you'll see proc a lot on my lead. It focuses the first unit in your team until he's knocked, then it's going to prioritize second, third, fourth. But Atomic Cement is a free shield and a defense boost. But defense boost isn't necessarily good in regards to this meta, just because of how reliant people are on piercing damage, catalytic blow, plasma storm, etc., etc. With that, my second deck, this is a topple playstyle. It runs a little bit different than the meta. This is to counter particular people and their decks. Some people have really, really strong topple teams, including, I would have to say, probably the most experienced player in the game runs a topple build. And that team particularly helps me counter against that matchup. I saw somebody on the forum today talking about quitting after they had sat there and lost their fence neon. Like I said, while you're on deliveries or you're ambushing and you acquire fence neon, it's susceptible to be stolen at any point. And unfortunately for the individual, they lost their fence neon, and I guess they called it a day. See, this is a top order. This is a 50-50 matchup, so we'll see. Another tip, or I would have this sit there and say this is like a intermediate or advanced tip, is you can just leave the screen while it's loading. It kind of bogs down the game in conjunction of what you do next, but sometimes it allows you to sit there and snowball hits, and they'll just simultaneously load as they play out. Right now you're waiting for the play out to play. We're probably going back and forth by quite some, as you can see. This gentleman Go actually happens to have a really good topple team in conjunction to toppling catalytic teams. It's his primary team, and it's really good at toppling my meta team. That's why I constructed a different deck, different play style in conjunction to battling against that. I think I lost the matchup. No, it's still going. It'll automatically register as a fail until the matchup plays. So unfortunately, we're on standby as we're still fighting, or it's trying to load the results of the winner. So you can just hit and go. Once you get to this tier, this level of gameplay, see, it eventually just load and you just rinse and repeat. I'm just trying to knock this individual off the board. I'm pretty sure he's done all of his ambushes for the day. I'm just trying to clear it up so I'll know the difference. It's been happening a lot recently. And we'll go ahead and roll something else. Gonna go for the gold here. This is Candyman. This could potentially be good if I roll double catalytic. Catalytic will play, and then Candyman will proc, and then after I remove all stacks of poison, it'll induce 2 more at the after. There we go. It's a Knight's Breath. Oh, and for Ghost, I'm getting way ahead of myself. The bottom 2 cards are Distract. Those I recommend rolling off, and then Stolify. I don't necessarily know how to pronounce that word, but these 2 are the most useless cards in conjunction to rolling a Ghost. I do recommend keeping Just a Taste, and then of course the effect, the +10 to stealth, and because that'll stack every time you draw it, and it'll play at the end of your turn. So you're only going to get 4 rolls per character, seeing how you go from 1 to 5. Double Candyman. That sucks. I'm just gonna keep the Stolify. Stoltify. Example, double Candyman, A Night's Breath, and Wide Open. Well, they didn't give me really much of an option there, did they? So Strip's gonna sit there and mitigate 2 stacks of buffs on your opponent. I'm not too entirely sure if that'll strip regen. That could potentially be good. I'm probably gonna have to go with the maneuver though. 30 stealth for the turn isn't really that good. It'll help you in conjunction to exploits, but that's only if you primarily play an exploit the turn you draw this card. So it could potentially backfire, and you would just end up with a wasted card, or I mean, it's not going to waste your turn to play at the end of your turn, but I mean, like, in conjunction to these 2 cards, like, I would primarily focus these 2 over. I don't think I want to go with the stripper though. Something a little more aggro. These aren't good. And it's basically similar to Distract. It just offers you the chance to exploit an additional defense break, and like I was saying, that's 20% each stack. So this could potentially mitigate 40% of your opponent's defense. It's just not that good of a card in the current meta. Alright, so Stupefy is kind of finicky, seeing how it auto battles for you. The computer won't play Stupefy, unfortunately. Stupefy. So at the end of the turn, insert 2 more Stupefies into your, and this is only if it's played. So unfortunately, it'll just reshuffle into your opponent's hand. I mean, the more Stupefies you sit there and insert into their decks could potentially be catastrophic. In terms, like, they won't get to sit there and pull the cards that they need to essentially win a battle. It is a play style, insert. Unfortunately, you can't run this on a toppler, and I'll go into a topple breakdown here in a little bit, but this doesn't apply to it. It's not, because it has to be a temporary, and it's not. This will indefinitely stay in your opponent's pool until played. It's just, you'll never see to this effect with the current auto battle. So at the end of the turn, insert 2 more. So essentially, it's just kind of like a never-ending effect. Literally stupefies your opponent, and they'll take 150 damage, but it removes the primary version of this card. It never plays. It really, right now, it's just used to essentially deadlock your opponent's hands if you're lucky or fortunate enough to sit there and pull that off. So I'm actually going to go with Erode. Erode, it can apply to a topple build. It's just, unfortunately, I only pulled 1. So to that, now we'll go into the topple breakdown. And you just, while you're active online, I'd recommend you pay attention to your delivery, especially the weaker your team is. You just pay attention to the delivery, because if somebody was to sit there and pull off a hit, you could post it to the informant board for somebody to sit there, like myself, to pick up. You would just, that's not going to really work. And if you fail an attempt on somebody, it's an hour cooldown. So for like this guy, like New, he can sit there and counteract my hit on him by posting a hit on me to get posted to the informant board. And if I would have stole any of his neon, if he's active, he would have the opportunity for somebody to sit there, steal that back and everything acquired in my fence. And it's always good, essentially, to sit there and review some of the battles that play out to learn your opponent's play style, and then to help you build off of that. So the newer the contract, really, it's going to sit there and increase your odds of making votes. Sometimes the page will like to sit there and mock up, and my advice for that is to run it on your phone as well. Run Neon District on your phone and sit there and kind of camp your criminal activity page to sit there and make your fences out. That right there, that 115 would have been up for grabs for anybody that would have been able to counter against that. There's a minute-old contract, made 119. And whoever, we'll check it out right now. Whoever posted this contract, Blander, just made out with 119 neon himself. So essentially, this person stole neon from him on his delivery, which was probably like anywhere from 12 to 20, or you know, I would even say lower than that, like maybe like 12 to 15. He just made out with 119 neon. I like to post those in the Discord just to let people know that they got some money waiting for them for old stuff. The clan member. He's actually pretty good. This is his brother Hummus as well. I spilled the beans to him earlier today, so he's trying to sit there and round off his team to sit there and primarily focus what I had shared earlier. I'll get caught up in that. It's a lifestyle. And I'm just bringing up Neon District on my phone. So just in case I get caught up on that again, it won't essentially be the end of the world. So this matchup, I do lose this. A lot of, like I said, especially with meta, when you're going up against somebody prioritizing meta, especially with cards like Plasma Storm, if they're able to chain a lot of Plasma Storm, it's not necessarily going to go in your favor. Plasma Storm, I would have to say, is like one of the strongest cards in the game. It's just, I prefer the play style of drones, especially how they prioritize effects, and it'll sit there and mitigate me from having to sit there and utilize something like a Jack. Jacks are actually probably, in my opinion, the hardest, but potentially one of the best assets in terms of characters that you can sit there and roll for. It's just they have a lot of bad cards that you could essentially end up pulling. Let's go with 2 more goes. I said it's 14 neon per character, so I'm buying 2 ghosts in increments of 30 juice to get two level 5s off. And a lot of people sit there and have issues about transferring their assets. As you'll see, these ones right here with the blue M, these have all been minted. All these newer assets are currently in queue to be minted, so I'm not going to be able to transfer them to my MetaMask or, marketplaces until that happens. And you just got to be patient. The more that people are minting, the longer the in due process. Here's a hard one. I did pull one maneuver earlier, so I could go with like a Candyman build in terms of this specific unit. Torment isn't that bad of a choice. It's just this would be the better role for this particular unit, especially like I said, since I pulled a maneuver, you could always go with the weapon afterwards. Double wide open. Wide open, gotta terrorize on the Candyman. It's not the worst, but it's most definitely not the best. Breaker. It's the hard stuff. Which is like a more focused, a single target focused Knight's Breath. Got the defense, the attack break, skull revive with the breaker. Now, focus defense break. It's going to increase damage. We'll go through some more. We'll try to get a pretty decent ghost here going. Have acquired this in about 2 weeks. I do want to see one of these matchups play out. It actually worked in my favor, so let's go with that. There we go. Catalytic right there. Oh, he had such good potential to sit there and be a really good asset. Really good unit. Oh, he fell short. Especially right about here, relapsing one of the cards as well, locking up with Knight's Breath. I'd rather focus that just because of the fact that it's an effect card. It's a lot harder to pull. So close. Catalytic Blow, Knight's Breath. See if the Heart Stomp would have been a Knight's Breath. That would have been actually a really good unit. Top tier, top tier. Watch that been the one for the day. Oh, see? Temporary. I can only play this one card once a game unless I win this exploit roll, which will add another level of temporary, which allows me to reshuffle into my deck. Otherwise, these can actually potentially be really good just because it'll mitigate your deck size. So if I was to pull 2 of these, and like particularly on this one unit, I could sit there and take his deck size from 10 to 9, and then if it's 2 to 8, which will sit there and guarantee the chances of me pulling better cards relatively than playing this one constantly. Well, we got stuck with all stats for the exploit. So we could sit there and add 58 health and, you know, very minuscule stats to all, but might as well just focus exploit. And that'll happen sometimes. I'm sorry for your loss. And go with the hard stuff. No point in getting Candyman, seeing how I'm already 3 rolls in and I haven't pulled a single maneuver. Erode. It could have been good. A double Candyman. Shoulda, coulda. It happens. Let's watch this matchup. I actually ended up winning twice against him. And now we gotta wait for the load. I was just trying to show that. So after every 30 I buy, I end up remaining with 2. So eventually that 2 will sit there and essentially fund a full character. For leveling a full character. Ouch. All stats, at least it's 200 life. This ain't good at all. Already 2 rolls into the 4. And all we've managed to pull is stats. We're still going with stats. So interact is a type of card that unfortunately doesn't have a placement in the current game. There's no weird interact currently in the game. Just make him tanky. Tanky as hell. That's actually not bad though. That's kind of nasty. And when the level increase, maybe he has potential to be good, but as of right now, he's just healthy. It's a healthy guy. Get the scour. I said I'm not really particularly fond of friendly inserts, but they didn't give me really much of a choice there, did they? So the real deal is going to heal target ally for 2 times your nano score. The downside of that is that you're going to have to play a real deal doctor. You're going to have to prioritize building nano, and in doing so, you're going to be more so on the flimsy side. It's going to be kind of like a glass cannon without the damage, just more in conjunction to healing. So I'm probably going to pull this. Don't remember the name, but... There you go. Not bad. Revitalize. Revitalize is a real emphasized meta card currently. And heals to full health and then nano breaks. But if you're not really relying on exploit rolls, there's no downside to playing Revitalize or focusing Revitalize on your doctors. Because he's not, as you see, there's no exploits. I mean, I could put a weapon on him that is gonna focus exploits, but why would you do that? I'd play drones anyways. Go with 2 more. So in terms of characters, demons are gonna be the highest attack, base attack at least. They're more attack orchestrated, focused. Another thing about them is they make good off tanks. They have a lot of counter attack cards. Counter attacks work by literally doing just that. When somebody inflicts damage to them, they inflict damage back in conjunction to their attack stat. So if you build them kind of healthy with counter attacks, they make great off tanks. Another thing that they do is they speed up your units. I wouldn't know how to sit there and classify that, but they have a lot of cards that'll sit there and mitigate tick costs, which will allow your units to sit there and play faster. Doctors healing. Geniuses are going to be like nuke oriented. They have a lot of nuke cards. You'd have to format a particular deck to utilize this type of playstyle. They're not necessarily bad. It's just they don't have good placement currently without running a specific kind of deck. And then as you see, as we're rolling units, it's kind of hard to sit there and depict that particular type of unit, asset. Ghoster, poison and debuff. Tank, heavy's gonna play as your tank. They do have, I want to say, very limited, if not just one card that could essentially turn them into a powerhouse. Attack, orchestrated, best offense is defense. It'll mitigate their defense into their attack stat for the turn, and that just basically allow them to hit like a truck. It's just good luck drawing that card. I want to sit there and say that's their rank 10 card. So it's pretty rare to sit there and pull off, but essentially that is a play style you could sit there and aim for. Jack's focus, team buffs, and regen. Regen is like the opposite of poison. Poison is percentage damage, and it stacks by 5%, up to 5. So essentially, you could induce 5 stacks of poison and 25% of your opponent's damage a turn. With ghosts, Jacks do the opposite. They could essentially stack 5 stacks of regen to sit there and heal you 25% per turn. Doctors are just flat heals. So I got my 2. Let's get the juice. %30 is pretty fat. I would prioritize high health on a doctor just to keep them alive. And a lot of people sit there and we're asking about why doctors roll with tactics. The real deal is probably the best way to sit there and explain that, or not the real deal. Revitalize with the nano break. Depending on your weapon, this could essentially still allow you to pull off exploits on a doctor. They're kind of like a dual spec in terms of their exploits. They can either rely on tactics or nano to sit there and pull off their exploits. And if you were to sit there and build something like Revitalize, building tactics on your doctor could essentially allow you to still maintain and pull off exploits. If you were to build them like that, it's just unfortunately I just got bricked with it. I have no choice but to pick it. You'll see here, and as you see, like 18. They're like a little hybrid in terms of how you want to utilize them to sit there and pull off your exploits. Yeah, it's last pull. We're gonna just focus heal. Sometimes the screens just don't like to work. The pages don't like to load. This gentleman right here, I watched one of our battles play out. The matchup almost took 30 minutes to determine the winner. Or to play out to the winner. It's still on cooldown. Gentlemen had been ambushing for roughly 30 minutes. We got another go-go. Don't even know if I picked the right team on that. Hokage or Swarm. There we go. Let's watch a topple play out. Four for 4 on go-go. That's a 50-50 matchup right there. Just happened to play in my favor all 4 times. So topple, it focuses a lot of inserts. You want to have a lot of inserts amongst your teams, and you'll insert those cards into your opponent's deck, and most, primarily all of them, have negative effects when your opponent plays or draws them. And topple, it does bonus damage. You can see right there, 700. It does bonus damage in conjunction to how many inserts you have. So currently, his lead already has 7 inserts in their deck. And it just double toppled. The upside to topple too is it's only a 20 tick card. So really, as you saw, that unit played back to back. Took its first turn and then played another topple on top of that. 1400 in basically 1 turn. So we go 5. Oh man, got my hopes up. We went 5. So really the point of like higher tier deliveries is you kind of want to trick your opponent into attacking you. You'll do this by name changing your units, changing your team's name, and I call this the head glitch playstyle. We don't equip helmets, we don't equip helmets on our units to impose that we look like a newer team, to entice newer players to attack us, and that's just to sit there and help us make more neon on our deliveries. Like this gentleman, he's fully equipped, and he was misled into thinking that he could take my team and just based off of appearance. It's a playstyle that was taught to me. I'm not particularly fond of it. I just do it to make the neon big. You can't beat them, join them playstyle. Sometimes you just lose the matchup. It's a game of cards, so sometimes you'll break. It's unfortunately a game of chance, but you can mitigate that chance by building appropriately, positioning your units where they need to be. Like I said, catalytic. You essentially want that as your lead in the current meta, and then you want to be backed by ghosts or by doctors and jacks. These are all really good contracts. As you see, a lot of them are pulling for 0, and that's just because they're made out. It takes roughly around 30 minutes to sit there and pull off your 100 ambushes if you're going back to back on them. There is a delay in doing so. There's a 1 second delay if you're pretty quick at hitting, and that's just to sit there and essentially balance out how fast you make out to give people an opportunity to actually hit back and steal back money, or post the contract for someone else to. I'm pretty sure all these people are done, but I'm just, like I said, I like to clear up the board to sit there and see what's new. And you always have the choice to sit there and view what your opponent's using. So this is a drone. This isn't the best ghost. He got his lead as a jack with a thrusting. Thrusting is pretty good. It's like the highest health pool weapon. You know, it's gonna offer you the highest health. And then it also comes with a card called Buckler Up, which allows you to proc shields on your unit. I'm pretty sure he prioritized health on his, because these look like all base cards with the exception of Omni. The drone. On a doctor, revitalize. A double Ninth Breath with the Plasma Storm. Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you.
I was just taking it.
Go about doing that. Wife just informed me that the battles are a little too loud to hear me over them. How I pulled this off, I don't know. He's already taken out my lead. We started off with the great lead with a double topple. We're probably just gonna end up coming back and nuking him. I have a card. I want to sit there and say amongst two of the units called Fiery Discharge, which will insert one card as an effect per turn. So the longer this battle plays out, every asset of his is getting one insert per turn. So I might just end up snowballing the battle afterwards. We might be in for some pretty big numbers here shortly, in conjunction to Topple. Topple can hit really high. Probably the hardest hitting card in the game currently. Is my delivery is up? Yep. Okay, she typically has better luck than I do, so we're gonna phone a friend here. Oh man, I love her for this. She got super duper lucky, and she pulled a double backdoor, man. Stats can get stupid real quick. This is another effect. I prioritize effects. Effects just have really good placement in the current at, like, I would say off meta, because not a lot of people utilize or really understand that it affects play at the end of your turn, and generally they have stacking effects, or they can chain really well. So every time I draw a backdoor man, this unit gets 50 hacking, and with two of them, he pulls them quite frequently, which will essentially help you pull off almost every exploit. Especially like the further back he is on your team, and the longer the matchup goes. This is something you would want to utilize for a Plasma Storm playstyle. Granted, he doesn't have the highest attack. Like I said, if this was something that you would build on a demon, this could snowball a game really quickly. But I'm saving him because unfortunately I don't have any good Plasma Storms. And that's also not a play style I'm trying to sit there and utilize, just because of the fact that it's so meta. I'm trying to create something off meta. Told you. Oh, what was that? 220,000? No, no way. Maybe 22,000. I don't know. He just got one shot though. Taking back the game. See, this is the topple matchup. The longer the matchup against the topple crew, the worse it is in terms of for your opponent. So we're gonna let my wife get on here, and she's gonna sit there and roll some units for me to sit there and show you that it can be done. Hello, just get yeah. You just gonna you rolling for me anyways. Just something to you. I want you to roll a unit. I'm gonna be okay.
I don't want to be on a video.
It's stubborn.
Yep, because I don't want to be on a video because I was going to bed.
You're fine.
No, you sit beside me.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, and I don't like it.
Okay, so you know the drill. Jack, Ghost, or Doctor. What are you feeling lucky at?
I do good with jacks, so let's try another jack.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really necessarily count if I'm the one doing it, so.
Okay. Let's see. Check. Now what? Bye. Okay.
Another, just do two.
Does that work?
Another.
Oh. Anything?
No.
Another jack.
Right, you said you wanted to roll jacks.
Okay. Now done?
Dash.
You have to remember brackets. Now what?
Juice.
Okay.
30.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. Close. No?
Characters.
Okay, now what?
The filter.
Filter the favorites.
No.
Oh, just help me. I'm
You've done
tired.
it before.
I know, but I was going to bed, love. No. Level. Alright, I'm gonna do 1.
You bought 2.
Initiate leveling.
Mm-hmm. Pwned, bottom right.
This one?
Mm-hmm. Firm. Interact.
Where's
Bottom 2. Bottom 2.
Sweet. Yes. Confirm.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, I have to click here. And then finalize.
Yep. So opponent is getting in the conjunction that it gets to purge 5. It says friend. I think it's friendly on target ally.
Right there?
That's terrible. That's what I said. It doesn't really count if I'm doing it. There goes my luck.
Which one?
The what it's highlighted on, just confirm.
This one? Okay.
So for Jack, the 3 cards or the 5 cards you want to sit there and prioritize rolling off are going to be the all allies get random boosts, and then the interacts. The first all ally boost. The first all ally boost. Why would you roll over?
I don't know. I can't see. Go back. Level again. Card upgrade.
Stealth boost.
Which one is that?
Top right.
I don't know which one. You're the genius here.
All allies.
This one?
Yep. And really, I mean, I could have gone with the hacking to sit there and increase odds of exploits, but he's not an exploit
Level
role.
again. Initiate leveling.
It's terrible.
But we'll have to kill that one.
Send him off. He's not even meant to.
We'll get you jacks.
Like I said, jacks are actually the hardest ones to roll.
Yes, they are. Takes a lot to get
a decent.
Yep, absolutely. Be prepared to not be happy. Level. So are we
Hacking.
I can't tell.
You were on it.
Down here. No, that says hacking too.
It's also interact.
Alright.
Top right. Optimize.
Thank you. I'm sweating. Thank you, dear.
Actually, one of the better cards they could draw.
We did good that time?
Yeah.
Woo!
Again.
Let's do it. Alright, here we go. Initiate leveling. Any luck this time? That was fast.
Dud.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell when it's not. I'd like to point out how you have all of those memorized and you don't even have to look.
Purge will remove inserts. Purge is going to be good against topples. Topple playstyles. Well, there you go.
Alright, thank you.
No problem.
Love
Figured you had better luck than that, but
no, I'm tired. My good mojo's all gone. I'm sorry. We'll do it again.
so reviewing, yeah,
Do it again
optimization. It's a great card to focus in conjunction to Jax. You're gonna pull a lot of overclocking. Overclock is gonna. There's one for every exploit. So there's stealth, nano, hacking, and tactics. Making it kind of actually hard to sit there and roll the jack. That would be very. See, overclock, nano, tactics, stealth, hacking, mech. was at 1v3, 1v2. Turn the match in our favor. Six for six. Let's find out. And we'll take the 46. Every time you fence, there's a 40 fence fee. So you'll lose 40 of what you essentially acquired. Unfortunate, but I mean, the more you could sit there and accumulate. Yep, we went 6 for 6. The more you could sit there and essentially accumulate before you fence out is going to be better for you, because you're not going to have to pay out that fence fee consecutively, or all the time. I'm not having the best matchups against this individual, but I'm also not pulling new units to sit there and essentially use against him. We got 1 jack, 2 ghosts, and a doctor. So the guy has more for us. Nope. I think with this cooldown, I think we went out on both first. Cooldown. No. We do another copper matchup. So back to ghosts. I need to actually prioritize rolling some better ghosts. We'll probably roll down to 50k. At least this stream. See, there's the free. Oh no, I'm wrong. I actually have enough juice to roll one. I defaulted that twice. Get the temporary. Stance. So I guess we're keeping a stultify. Oh, see, that's terrible. Oh, double catalytic. That's sad. We're gonna take it. I mean, it would have been better back to back, not on the same roll, but it happens. Seeing how, anyways, it's going to sit there and inflict a break. Let's go with stats. Over that. Let's shift it. That's actually pretty good. Maybe we're getting lucky. I'm quick to go to favorites. That's because I'm actually looking, so I did something worth it. It's Corby Road. That's good. Right off the rip. I'll take another. Oh shit. Why are they doing this to me? Oh man. Oh, it couldn't been back to back. See, another thing you want to sit there and pay attention to is even though the upgrades are similar, I think this more pertains to weapons. Sometimes there's variance in the stats. Like sometimes like the defense might be like 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, even though they're both rank 1. So just pay attention if you end up getting breaked with all stats. Take my time. Just to get that off. I'm getting really lucky in terms of pulling catalytic flow, but just not the way I need to. Everything I sell for. So if it's more going to the gentleman buying them. They're gonna play him as girls anyways. We'll save them the stuff. We'll save them the stuff on the doctor. Go ahead and fix that. The best heal, but $130 ain't gonna save me. Bada bing. It would have been dope to pull two of those under 50% with yourself for 400 back to back. I don't know. I've never. So I haven't rolled anything like similar to this, but I'm pretty curious to sit there and see if we would have pulled to thyself on the same turn that I'm 50% if it would have actually killed me 800, but I guess we won't know. I'm feeling really lucky in terms of rolling ghosts, so let's continue. Before we do that, check the delivery. Nada. That was really quick to load. Kappa for the 9. Jump in my nope. And they're all in some lippy. Right off the rail. It's actually Beeble, but this is my double cat. Also flies for double code. Oh god. Nah, let's get your eyes open.
Your cat's so cool.
Oh, I got too much juice. This is my kitty Homeless. It's one of my doctors named after. She's my saving grace. Some stuff. This is some stuff. Okay. Back to here. Look, we'll try to jinx this right here. We don't want to do that. good to go. Thank you. No, it's 9:30. Thank you. Hit the refresh. It's pretty inactive as of now. So as you can see, our matchups are pretty close. And essentially, when you're running similar playstyles or similar decks, that's gonna happen. So I'd like to sit there and say like it's gonna be a 50-50 with the swing. How he renamed himself to Dude. Instead of Jackpot. Pod. That's our boy. Let's go straight to it. Get to the nitty gritty. I knew it. That sucks. Well, I wonder what I'm gonna pick. I think I need to shift focus into Stolify first instead of Distract, because I'd rather have Distract over Stolify. Another maneuver. No. breaker, and catalytic. 116 stealth. Forgot I already bought two. That's okay. Getting a little ahead of myself. So we got potential. We got potential. Damn. Probably just gonna have to go with the hard stuff. Hit up that relapse. Get her temp in. The hard stuff. Not necessarily too fond of Torment, especially when you actually just attack back. Well, Homer, welcome. Get another 2-minute contract. Going for 0. 5. You up to the bat. Ouch. This is getting sad. be fat on stealth. Called it. I never did look like that. The doctor earlier was probably the first all stat that I pulled for all stats. 146 base. I mean, that's okay. With 3, I have the 14 juice to roll a free one. Participate in that. So we probably got 2 more rolls after this. I said we'll focus stats over breaks. I mean, we'll just focus stats in general. No, I need to get the 2 rolls. I wonder. No luck all night. I even phoned a friend. A good friend. Let's get another battle going. See if we can make out with the fence real quick. The hard stuff. I go with that 70 and for the win. These really aren't the best rolls at all. I can't believe I double catalytic twice tonight, but not consecutively. would go over a distract, but I'm not pulling much more than that. So I'm going to sit there and see if they announce the winner in conjunction to something. They did not. All right, so we'll give it the good old go on the last two for the evening at least. Then I'm going to focus accumulating some more neon. Here we go. Let's get it. Nada. Breaker off the rip. Here, like, we try to jinx it. We did not. Oh, another double knights. No. Almost not the case. At least we managed to pull 4 cards. Oh, that was it. It was the longest delivery ever. It was actually pretty hard. I'm gonna squeeze some more out of Homer. Hundo. Hundo. See if we can knock this guy. See if we can force second into second. Not entirely sure. Yeah, we got some attempts on one. I think this is a cooldown. We're knocking. Take my 60. I see you. Huh? We force Go-Go to force the hit. Twice. 2 out of the 6 attempts. But honestly, quite frankly, I got pretty lucky on those. Like I said, that's generally a 50-50 swing, and he just happened to lose all of. Then I gotta go through and name my characters. Like I said, I just mark them as female because that's just the indicator to me that that's the assets that I'm gonna post later as soon as they get minted. None of these, unfortunately, were keyed. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 32 attempts tonight, this evening. Some of them had the potential to sit there and essentially be good, but they didn't pull through. This helps kind of force the update in conjunction of characters. So all of them updated as females. Girl power girl. They essentially look a little bit better too. Especially with some of the equipment equipped it. Just a personal preference. Like, for example, the cowboy hat. I don't know. If you were to sit there and toggle these into males, I got this kid and play haircut on. It is just about that time as well. I don't have to go through and rename them just to sit there and know essentially what they are, who they are. My doctors. And that was building primarily for meta in terms of the ghost, probably to replace some of my on my ambushing team. And in terms of doctors, though, doctors had a swing. There's another build that I'm essentially trying to play for, and unfortunately I didn't look out. Probably the closest one is the one that pulled Beefy. Oh, Revitalize is always a good asset, but I already have a double Revitalize that I've managed to pull. I don't even know I lost it. Seeing that one as well. But unfortunately today was just not the day for that. The jacks my wife rolled were just she tried. And pulling gear from crates, like, I mean, it's just, that's just such a hard pull. We also, they sat there and said they're going to introduce like a limited time crate here in the future. So I'm not necessarily prioritizing pulling crates just because of the fact that the swing on that is very widespread. Generally, more than not, you're not gonna end up pulling assets that you really want. My best advice is to sit there, and if you do, is to sit there and sell that stuff off and just buy what you particular need off of OpenSea. I was checking that out earlier, and when you're searching, your best bet is to just look up the cards in particular that you're looking for and look out throughout the assets to sit there and see where they're slotted. So, for example, not necessarily a character, but like a drone. If you wanted a field repair drone, clearly you don't. You want to look at like ascending from low to high, and you just want to kind of go through and see what other people sit there and manage to buy. So this one, and always check what it is on Neon District, because sometimes they don't update the actual the metadata, and it could be advertised. Like I bought a drone one time and it wasn't what it stated. It was supposed to be a rare, so it was supposed to come at level 3. I liked what the properties it had under it, but turns out after I bought it and it actually updated the metadata, it was false. So always make sure to sit there and click this button to view actual on Neon District, and that's going to be the most accurate information you're going to see in conjunction of buying your assets. And so for this in particular, drones, you want to roll off the last 4. Field repairs being over multitask isn't necessarily good, just because I'd rather play a multitask rather than launch tracking or rectify. So you generally want to sit there and make sure, in drones in particular, that you find one that's rolled over that. So let's sit there and see if we can do this. And really, uncommon, rare, and ultra rare are essentially the assets I look at in particular, just because of the fact that that's going to be your best chance at finding what you want. So for this, it can go 2 ways. I generally like to make sure that Zap is rolled over, just because 75 damage for a 50 tick is actually kind of really bad. Just in conjunction of what else it comes rolled on it. Like fine tuning is plus 20 attack, 5 mech. If you're playing as a genius, that could be beneficial. It's a blast is just a flat attack up, but even then it's lower ticks than zap, and essentially you're probably gonna induce more damage than zap. And then set to kill increases that, which Plasma Storm is a nuke. So if you were to pull set to kill alongside Plasma Storm, you're gonna induce more damage. That's why sometimes you'll sit there and see people deal like 600 damage on their Plasma Storm, and that's probably because they sat there and pulled the effect set to kill. There's also another one that you can roll on top of an energy weapon, and it'll just increase it that much more. Whoa, we don't need field repairs. A lot of these assets are probably going to be pretty bad. See, Plasma Storm's rolled all over the place. Essentially in slots you don't want it. Your best bet to increase your odds of rolling a really good one is going to be looking for one with it on uncommon. So like this one, Plasma Storm as the one roll in Zap. So that means you got 3 more chances to essentially pull that many more Plasma Storms. And like I said, Plasma Storm is probably like the best weapon card currently, with the exception of Topple. But Topple, you have to prioritize like a whole setup to essentially run that. Whereas Plasma Storm is you pull Plasma Storm and you're raining damage on the board. Like I said, this particular build or playstyle on that my backdoor man, it is going to be intense, insane. So that would be a nice one to sit there and pick up. See, this one, although it's rolled over Zap, not so much, because as you see, it's a level 4. So that means I get one more attempt to sit there and essentially pull Plasma Storm. Ultra rares and legendaries will all uncommon, rare. The higher the rarity is supposed to dictate better odds at pulling rarer cards. It's just I mean, as you saw with me rolling my units, it's a game of chance, and that's the last. I mean, your chances are slim in comparison to sit there and pulling uncommon and having 4 attempts. Whereas if you pull that ultra rare, you only get the 1. The 2 rolls is Plasma Storm and stats. Another good one. What was it there? That's not what I tried to do. And I always open in a new tab just so I don't have to sit there and go through the refresh, which it's not liking me today. We'll go through them till about 0.6, triple 6. So right about here in this range, things, in my opinion, start to be overmarked. So look, you're paying an additional $1 for basically the same. You got to interact on this weapon, so really this is floor price. You shouldn't essentially be able to sell this more than $2, just because of the fact of what is rolled on it, regardless of rarity, stats. Cards are going to dictate a lot more than general stats. Stats can pay off, but that's just if you build towards that. And really, with just the current setup, you're not going to build something most likely capable of outplaying a meta deck. See another one. But really, I think this is where we're gonna go ahead and conclude it, until hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow I might be able to get a couple more hours in. Might make some progression between here and there. I'm not entirely sure. The board was moderately decent. I would just have to fixate and focus more on earning neon relatively than rolling assets. I went through about 30,000 plus neon this evening rolling for a bunch of junk, but that's the game. That's essentially the game. You win some, you lose some, and today I did not win some. I won some good matchups. And granted, neon wasn't the reward, but like I said, a lot of it is helps like during the learning process. Watching your matchups, seeing your opponents and their decks and how they play out is essentially going to sit there and help you become a better player. And we'll finish off knocking this board. Oh, 20 minutes. 20. That's too long. But he's done. You don't want to lose no more. Called it. Alrighty, everyone. Well, I do appreciate anybody who stopped by. The content will flow a little bit better as I get more into the practice of this. But y'all have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.